We're taking off on this Sunday edition of Aqueduct Insider. Settled in at New York City's racetrack, the Big A. It's Aqueduct Racetrack in South Ozone Park, Queens. A real working-class ethos, blue-collar neighborhood. New York diversity all around.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing that's not blue class in New York racing, even here at Aqueduct, is the racing.
Yeah.
It's just great racing. We had 4 stakes to kick off the new year. And what other racetrack do you see that, especially in their winter months?
And I think the weekend star, at least this opening weekend in 2015, El Kabir, who turned quite a few heads. Many expected him to win Saturday's 145th running of the Jerome. The way he won it, however, I think impressed most people, including the 2 sitting at this desk.
Yeah, absolutely impressed me. I thought he had a tough road to hoe here. He was outside. He had other speeds inside him. He was strung out wide. He showed a different dimension, Jason, rating along, and then he won with consummate ease. I think this was basically a coming out for El Kabir that maybe he's better than I thought he was.
21 Kentucky Derby points. In fact, he is rated #1 if the Derby was run right now. And keep in mind, I just looked, 118 days and about 45 minutes away from the Run for the Roses on the first Saturday in Mare. But Ahmed Zayat, you need to have a deep bench. You need to have bullets in the holster. And Ahmed Zayat certainly has that. He's also got American Pharaoh and Mr. Z. But El Kabir, 21 points with John Terranova. And it sounds like John Terranova, the trainer, is pretty happy with the way El Kabir came out of the Jerome.
And I think, well, he should be. I mean, they worked very hard, obviously, to get this horse to use his speed when the rider wants to use it. And that's the key to a good horse. A lot of horses have speed, but they want to use it when they want to use it. Waiting on a rider's cues is critical, and he's got the right exercise rider in Simon Harris. And John Terranova did a great job kind of changing this horse's mind a little bit.
And you're looking forward to American Pharaoh for the Zayats, and Bob Baffert getting back into some serious training. It sounds like he is starting to jog on a regular basis out at Santa Anita, and they might be targeting the San Felipe on March 7th.
Well, I think he's going to need to make those preps because he has had limited amount of experience as a 2-year-old, albeit brilliant. He needs to get 2 or 3 preps in to make sure he is battle-tested for the Kentucky Derby. And then you go back to the other Zayat stable horse, Mr. Z, who may have been best at Los Alamitos. If you go back and watch the head-on, as badly as he was trying to drift out through the stretch, Mike Smith was very inhibited in how he could ride him, and he really was doing more straightening up than riding him forward. If they get that straightened out, he's going to be a bigger player, I should say.
D. Wayne Lucas, the trainer, and you know Mr. Z, the kind of 3-year-old that can thrive on a heavy workload and plenty of racing. He began his career over the summertime, ran a bunch of times at Saratoga, and has not missed a beat throughout the fall into the winter. And we look forward to seeing these Zayat colts in 2015. And speaking of a deep bench, much like Ahmed Zayat's 3-year-olds, how about Todd Pletcher? He, as we tape the show, they just ran the 9th at Gulfstream. Todd Pletcher already has 2 3-year-old winners on today's card. Among them, It's a Knockout, who's a perfect 2 for 2. Good-looking allowance win back in race #4.
Well, he certainly threw a knockout punch here. He just did break his maiden, but he certainly improved off of that effort. And this was a fast race, a strong race, and you had to like it from going 7 furlongs now to a mile. I like the progression.
And he doesn't have a flash-in-the-pan kind of precocious pedigree. He's by Lemon Drop Kid out of a Cherokee Run Dam on the bottom side, and I think the best is yet to come with the horse that went for $350K as a yearling owned by Starlight Racing, and a bit later the best was yet to come, at least for the chalk players. 8-5 on Outlash, the gray unbridled song, who's on a hard 3-wide chase. He cuts it close, but he's just up in a nick of time.
You know, this looks like a horse that's going to appreciate when they stretch out further. He went 7/8 in his debut, but it looked to me like he was a little bit lost, running with the emergency brake on a little bit, and he finally leveled off inside the 8th pole and went about his business. This is the kind of horse that improves with a race and improves as they stretch out. I think you didn't see even a fraction of what this horse is capable of.
By the late unbridled song, a sire mig that came up quite often, at least 3 or 4 times when you and I taped the National Racing Report this morning.
Yep, certainly, and I think you said it this morning, making his mark on the breed, not just as a sire, but as a grandsire and beyond.
And we want you to tune in to the Racing Report Monday and Tuesday on MSG Plus, 6 p.m. post time, both Monday and Tuesday night. We talk about the road to the Kentucky Derby, Santa Anita, Laurel, a lot coming your way, including the 5 Saturday stakes down at Gulfstream Park. We've got stakes, though, right here on this Sunday edition of Aqueduct Insider. It's the Ruthless. We ran it early, field of 5. It went as the 3rd. John Embrial with the call. We'll send it up for the call in the slop.
Darling Sky away well from the rail. Dickinson from the outside. Darling Sky by ahead. Dickinson right there in second. Noble and a Beauty just in behind in third. And now moving up in between horses. Paula's Silver Lining is fourth, 3 lengths from the front. Then a gap of 3 to Stormalina, who trails the field in 5th. Long shot, Darling Sky at the rail, leads by 3/4 of a length over Dickinson through an opening quarter mile in 23 3/5 seconds. The favorite, Paula's Silver Lining, on the inside. Noble in a Beauty is alongside in fourth. And Storm Alina, 4 lengths from the front, midway on the turn. Darling Sky holding on to that narrow lead. Dickinson's in between horses. Here comes Noble and a Beauty now, making a move on the outside. Paula's Silver Lining is gaining ground down at the rail. The half went in 47 4. Here comes Paula's Silver Lining. Noble and a Beauty right there. Those two are heads apart inside the 8th pole. Noble and a Beauty on the outside. Paula's Silver Lining down at the rail. Those two come on down to the line together. It's going to be tight in the Ruthless. Too tight to call a photo finish. Was it the favorite, Paula's Silver Lining, or...
It was the favorite, Paula's Silver Lining. A gritty effort, resolute on the rail, but the same could be said for the runner-up who ran terrific second time out.
This was a tremendous horse race. This was fun to watch. 2 fillies giving 120%. And you could just see the demeanor on Paula's Silver Lining on the inside with Irad Ortiz. Her ears are flat back. She's looking the other filly in the eye, and she's saying, I got a little more experience than you. You have to work a little harder to get by me, but that's what horse racing's about.
Between the brothers, Erad on the rail, Jose on the outside, and Erad, because he won that tight photo, actually got to catch up with the MiG moments after taking the stake for trainer Michelle Nevin.
Irad, Paula's Silver Lining got a great trip, got through along the inside, and she wanted it. She really fought for it.
Yes, thanks God and thanks the owner and trainer for giving me the opportunity to stay on the horse. And she's a fighter, you know, I can tell you something different than that, you know. And I just followed the instruction, break good, don't be too far, and just wait to the last second to make a run. She's a nice filly, and the horse got in front of me trying to get out all the way, so I stayed there patient and wait, and was a little open. The jockey want to close the rear, but he can't. The horse tried to get out, so I get through, and that was the key.
Well, it's always nice to win a stake, but when your brother draws alongside of you on Noble and a Beauty, is it a little more special beating your brother in a close one?
It's special because we fight each other all the time, but it's not easy to beat him, you know, so we have to work hard.
Well, good job, and congratulations. Keep up with good work in 2015.
Thank you.
A combined 505 winners together on this circuit in 2014. Erad, Jose Ortiz, does it get any better? I mean, it's day number 4 of the new year, and they hook up in a $100,000 stake head-and-head.
The only way it could have been better is if they actually dead heated and both came away with a victory, but they both rode winning races. And I thought the force, Noble and a Beauty, was so much more professional this time. But she had company. Last time she was alone on the lead, she kind of got to ducking and dodging around a bit erratically. When she had a horse that kind of stretched her, she stayed straight, but the trips made the difference. Paula's Silver Lining getting through on the fence certainly helped.
But Noble and a Beauty showed a new dimension, rating outside and having to come around horses today. The future bright for both of them, and we've got that comprehensive stakes program for 3-year-old fillies going short and going long, and we'll see if they try to stretch out Paula's Silver Lining and Noble and a Beauty. Good connections, Michelle Nevin over Rick Bauer Jr. And Vinny Scuderi's got the mare. He's got the half-brother dad's cash. Wouldn't you like to own her?
Oh, she is a cash machine, obviously turning out these good foals. And I remember riding for Vinny Scuderi years ago when Pete Ferriola trained for him, and he had all claiming horses. Well, the quality of his stable is upgraded, and the fact that he's breeding good horses now is nice to see as well.
That's what the game can do for you and can do to you. As we move on to race number 8, we stay with Johnny I upstairs once again, and he'll take us through. We stretch things out a mile and a 16th in the state bred allowance optional claimer.
For victory. Now SEAL Team 4 moves up on the outside, and Joe Mooch is a close-up third. Deceived runs in 4th. Ultimate Empire is 5th. Mr. Masterpiece down at the rail in 6th. Wild Night at the Opera. And so Scott is the trailer as the field moves around the clubhouse turn, and SEAL Team 4 is in front. SEAL Team 4 a little more than a length. Groom for Victory in second by a half length, and on the outside is Joe Mooch in third. The opening quarter was run in 24 seconds, and the field has reached the backstretch. SEAL Team 4 showing the way here, 3/4 of a length. Groom for Victory and Joe Mooch, they're right together, second and third. They've got 2.5 lengths on Deceived, runs in 4th. Ultimate Empire racing along the inside in 5th, and it's Mr. Masterpiece in 6th. The gap of 4. Wild Night at the Opera, 4 more to So Scott. The half in 48 3. SEAL Team 4 will lead the field into the far turn. Joe Mooch now picks it up as Groom for Victory has dropped back. On the outside is Deceived Ultimate Empire at the rail. Then Mr. Masterpiece. Sealed Team 4 with the lead over Joe Mooch as they come for the quarter pole. Sealed Team 4 now in front by 2. Joe Mooch is in second. Deceived is third. Then Ultimate Empire. Mr. Masterpiece is on the far outside. 3/4 1 and 1, 13 and 2, and Sealed Team 4 is in front with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Mr. Masterpiece on the outside. Wild Night at the Opera is making a wild run down on the inside, but Sealed Team 4 is holding on to the lead. Then Mr. Masterpiece and Wild Night at the Opera. Sealed Team 4 did it in front-running fashion. Wild Night at the Opera.
Manny Franco shows him how it's done, an aggressive ride early, and that was pretty much all that was needed with Sealed Team 4.
When he beat the other speeds to the first turn and was able to get comfortable, you knew he was going to be very tough, and this was a good, aggressive ride. I thought Wild Night at the Opera did well to be second. He kind of moved up the inside like he was going to be very menacing, and then he hung in there a little bit, and then when there was more space, he went on again for a horse that's still relatively inexperienced.
Tony Dutrow, very nice claim, picking up a New York bred who was running out of town, which is something, for the most part, I'll never understand, and a state bred that had conditions, and Sealed Team 4 gets through this rich, near $60,000 condition, as we have gotten through the first segment, my friend, on tonight's Sunday edition of Aqueduct Insider. A lot more coming your way, a recap of the opening week of 2015 with the Empire State Building. We're back as the sun begins to set. There wasn't much sun, but it is getting darker outside. The fog had started to roll in off Jamaica Bay just as Johnny I was doing the first set of changes, but by the time Talking Horses was over, the fog had dissipated, and we're glad you're with us. Purse structure here pretty solid. We've been seeing some good 3-year-old maiden races.
Yeah, tremendous maiden races, $60,000 purses. When I started riding, it was $50,000 stake races,
wow.
and that was a big deal. So times certainly have changed, but you know what? So is inflation. And you talk about it getting dark. It seems like lately I leave home in the dark,
right.
I get home in the dark. I'm feeling a little like a mushroom.
It's that time of year, my friend. But you know what? We're dark the next couple of days. You'll be able to relax. We're back at it this coming Wednesday with the Pick 6 carryover, 12:25, and look. Hottest place in town. You see the traffic coming in and coming out. We still have the Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park simulcast. Fire up the Nye Rewards, and we'll fire up this field of 3-year-old maiden fillies from the gate in the 9th with Johnny I.
On the extreme outside is a Calling Me Home. Stickler is down at the rail. Then it's Alliteration, followed by Silent Ronin, and a big break to Ziggy's Army, who is lagging far behind in 7th. Coming through on the inside is Stickler, up to poke ahead in front of Eloquent Tribute. It's Stickler by a head. Eloquent Tribute runs in second, and Smart Alex is next in third. Then Silent Ronin in fourth, through a quarter in 22 and 3. Alliteration on the inside is fifth, followed by Calling Me Home, and then way back is Ziggy's Army. Now Eloquent Tribute takes over the lead as Stickler drops back. Smart Alex moves up on the outside into second. Alliteration is down towards the rail. Eloquent Tribute has built a 3-length lead. Alliteration in second. Then Smart Alex Calling Me Home on the outside. Eloquent Tribute opens up in the stretch. Eloquent Tribute just gobbling up the slop here, and it will be Eloquent Tribute, much the best in the finale. Alliteration was second. Then Smart Alex and Calling Me Home was fourth.
Another stakes, or I should say another maiden winner for Tappan. He had one yesterday in the 6th on tap, and he's got a 3-year-old filly named Eloquent Tribute.
Well, there may be stakes in this filly's future.
Thank you.
I think you were getting a step ahead of yourself, but I agree with you. I think she's that kind of filly. She finished with energy. You could see the way Manny Franco was sitting against her around the far turn, that she was locked and loaded, and as he swept the late double and got his 3rd win of the afternoon.
Hat trick for Manny Franco. Tappan, of course, standing for $300,000 in 2015. He will be booked full, and another stallion that came up a couple of times on the edition of the Racing Report, which will be on the air Monday and Tuesday. We hope you check it out. Rudy Rodriguez, by the way, and it's funny, you talk about the ebb and flow of the game. He's in a cold streak right now. Entering today's card was 3 for his last 51 on this circuit in New York. 24 horses in that 51-horse sample were between 1-5 and 7-2. So most of those horses were losing at short prices, but he does walk away with a maiden win in the nightcap. What's that like for a trainer or a jockey when you're in a cold streak, but you finally get the win?
Well, I think it lifts a lot of pressure off you, and maybe you start pressing, even though you've been doing it for a long time. At this point, Rudy's been training for a while, or if you're riding for a long time, sometimes you have to take a step back. You have to breathe and just trust in what you know how to do. Sometimes the bounces don't go your way, and you've got to be able to ride out the good times as well as ride out the bad times as well as enjoy the good times.
Can't keep a good trainer down. Rudy, a good trainer, a high-percentage guy, and he gets a nice maiden win in the last race as we send it back to John Embrial for the calls of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So here we go.
Storm, and farther back, it's Horatio, and the field turns for home. Mach 7 on the outside. It's Political Farce who's coming on now. Ogmer is gaining ground down at the rail. Kid Blast is in with a chance. Horatio's putting in a late run. Sunstorm in behind horses. They pass the 8th pole. It's Political Farce, and now it's Kid Blast on the outside. Political Farce, Kid Blast to the front, then Political Farce at Mach 7. Kid Blast the winner. Kid Blast over Political Farce on the lead as they come into the stretch. Striking Impact trying to make a race of it on the outside in second. It's Pop of Color. Striking Impact is gaining ground on the heavy favorite. Here comes Striking Impact. Pop of Color is back running in second. Striking Impact in front as they come on down for the wire. Striking Impact the winner. Pop of Color was second. Big break back to Skidmore in third. Closest to the rail. On the outside is Day's Ride, now moving into second. Then it's Tismus. My Adonis is down at the fence as they come for the 8th pole. Good to Look. Good to Look is still there. Good to Look trying to take them wire to wire here. Good to Look by a length. My Adonis, one last try on the inside. Good to Look. My Adonis is between those two. It's Good to Look who holds on. My Adonis was second. It is Celtic Blessing. Shine on Erin is gaining ground on the outside. They come for the wire. Celtic Blessing, Shine on Erin. Celtic Blessing by a head. Shine on Erin was second. Then Dance for Joe. Defense now takes the lead from Darling Bridezilla. Darling Bridezilla comes right back at In Kelly's defense. And here's In a Flash on the outside, gaining on the front two. Less than a furlong to the finish. Darling Bridezilla down at the rail. In Kelly's defense in between. In a Flash. And here's a late run from Easy Passer. Easy Passer passes them all and wins it at the end. Then for the stretch, Rockin' Cozy moves up on the outside. Rockin' Cozy, My One Love, Verismilitude, those three heads apart with an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Verismilitude down on the inside. My One Love. Rockin' Cozy on the outside is third. Zippity Zoom is fourth. They're coming down for the finish line, and it's going to be Verismilitude to win by a little more than a length. My One Love was second.
Nobody hit the pick six, just one winning favorite on today's card, the filly that won the Ruthless, a carryover, pick six carryover, a little more than $29,000. Tough day, but maybe not that tough if you like Charlton Baker in races 6 and 7. Just lost a tough one off the claim with Darling Bridezilla in race 6, but the barn came back in race 7. Real gritty effort, a street fighting kind of effort with Verismilitude along the round.
Verismilitude refused to lose. It looked like she was going to be not second, but third at one point, and kept finding under aggressive handling by Chucky Lopez. Charlton Baker owns and trains. That's even better for him.
And he is a trainer, and he's not a household name per se. If you are playing the horses this time of year and you watch the circuit, you know who he is. Native of St. Catherine Parish in Jamaica, has a large string at Finger Lakes, wins consistently down here. What does it say for a guy that can go back and forth and just is well in tune with what horses from up at Finger Lakes can run down on this tougher circuit?
Well, I think it speaks volumes about the level of horsemanship at Finger Lakes. I mean, the Ingleharts, both Chris and Jeremiah are able to do it. Charlton's able to do it. And to be able to scout the talent and discern which horses will excel here or which horses need to be there, and then which horses get good and need to come back, I think it's a rare talent.
2015 breeding season, well, it's here pretty much. It's a new year. We're looking for a good stallion, and with that in mind, it's time for Sunday's Frost Giant New York bred standout star on this sloppy Sunday on the inner track. We go back to Seal Team 4, who had the precision and I guess was as direct as a Navy SEAL. I mean, was in command from the get-go.
Well, I thought his ride was reminiscent of the way Navy SEALs execute things. This is what I'm doing. You guys adjust around me,
right,
and we'll figure it out. And he was very resolute in victory. And speaking of rare talent, much like Frost Giant, who seems to be able to throw horses that win from any direction, turf, dirt, long, or short.
Eric at sunrisestallions.com, and Frost Giant standing for $10,000 in 2015 at Keene Stud. Let's go to the claims here with another day on the inner track down. It has gotten even darker outside as we look at the Lonely 2, but there were a couple of shakes on Tismus in race 4.
Yeah, an unusually light day at the claim box here at Aqueduct. We've seen a lot of claiming going on, but yeah, it's a Sunday, day of rest.
And both these horses losing at short prices. I don't think Tismus is at his best on a sloppy track. I'd look for him off the claim for Abby Adsit next time out, getting a fast inner track. As we recap the week, we look at the stars and we check out Be Bullish on the return. We're back here at the Big A. It is Aqueduct Insider, MSG Plus, another week down. We opened up 2015 on a high note. 3-year-olds took center stage here on Saturday. The 145th running of the Jerome. El Kabir, the Grey Colt by Scat Daddy, is 7-5. They open up the doors, and what happens?
Well, he stumbles, not terribly. At least he was able to still continue going forward. I would say it's more of a bobble than a stumble. But in some ways, I wonder if it didn't help his cause, because maybe if he had broken a bit sharper, he would have been maybe committed to the idea he had to go to the lead, and maybe that it works out different.
But John Terranova putting this horse behind horses in the morning. They were confident he could rate, and he did just that. To be honest and candid, I said to Eric at this point around the clubhouse turn, well, that's the end of El Kabir, and he proved me wrong. This was a dominating performance for a son of Scat Daddy who got a 95 Beyer speed figure. He's got 3 wins from 6 starts, and his only losses, 2 at the hands of Blofeld and 1 at the hands of Daredevil.
Yeah, some pretty good names there, and the fact that he won with such ease and got a very good Beyer figure speaks volumes for him going forward. I find it interesting, though, that he was able to do this with a noted speed rider like Chucky Lopez. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is ironic. The old pro from Brooklyn who just turned 54 years old, showing the younger riders how it's done. And maybe they leave CC on. It'd be a lot more intriguing in
I'd
my
like to
book.
see it.
Yeah, if he was the rider of El Kabir going into the Withers. And we've seen some good 3-year-olds stable in New York like Alpha, Smarty Jones, and Prairie Beyer, at least in the Upper East Coast at this time of the year, do well in the Triple Crown races. We move on. Majestic Affair. He turned some heads here, no doubt about it, on Friday. A big effort in the Cappy.
A big effort. Really finished with his legs underneath him. He looks to me like a classic sprinter, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they're going to try to stretch him out at some point. This is a very talented colt, and I think his rider turned some heads too. Kendrick Carmouche been making noise all up and down the Mid-Atlantic, but now gets an opportunity at the Big Apple, and I think Kendrick Carmouche is going to make some noise around here this winter.
How about the seniors? Much like CC Lopez, it was the old gray, the near white Be Bullish on Saturday, showing his younger rivals how it's done. He loves the inner track, he loves to run hard, and he looks as good as ever, man. What an effort.
He is in really good form, and I know a lot of talk about a 10-year-old and how much he races. Well, if a horse's form is deteriorating, that's one thing. This horse is flourishing, and horses like to have a job. Right now, Be Bullish is in raging form, and I find it interesting. He's got a young apprentice on his back here, Angel Cruz. He's almost as old as his rider.
Right, both ends of the spectrum with that, that's for sure. An 87 Beyer in the win off the claim, another reclaim by David Jacobson. The Holly Hughes, January 18th, a race Be Bullish has won twice in 11 and 14. Maybe that's where we see him next, but a durable horse who just loves to compete out there.
Yeah, he does, and he looks great right now. So, you know, the people that are concerned about his well-being, he is in good form right now. It's when a horse is going the wrong direction, you have to become concerned.
Only 4 cards down in 2015, but Jose Ortiz, the #1 rider in the country, he is 9 for 27, or was 9 for 27 midway through this card, over $300K in earnings, 13 for 36 on the week, and look at this ride, or at least the end of a ride, aboard a filly by the name of Story Lady.
You know, you think about like getting off to a start like this, it can only breed good things for him going forward. You want to get off to a good start and show people that last year wasn't even remotely a fluke, and we know it wasn't.
Right.
But it can only breed more success. In this game, success breeds success.
Won 234 races in 2014, was 5th in the nation with over $16.5 million in purse money won, and he is in front of his other two compatriots by 11 wins.
The three amigos. Manny Franco splitting the brothers there, and then back to two apprentices, Angel Cruz and Israel Rodriguez, who have made a good impression.
David Jacobson knows his way around the winner's circle here at Aqueduct, the claim box. He does well with those geldings, and big business and raging form. He was one of many David Jacobson trained winners throughout the week.
And David Jacobson's big business there, but David Jacobson takes care of business, and he knows how to spot his horses, where they're going to excel, and a guy that we're going to see on top of the leaderboard for a long time to come.
Indeed. 11th in 2014 in purse money won with over $8.3 million, 5 for 10 on the week. He was 11th in the number of starters he sent out in 2014 as well. He sends out a lot of horses, ran 826 horses, or had 826 starters, and he, of course, is our leading trainer here at Aqueduct, but good showings from a few other people. Among them, we got to give Michelle Nevins some love on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously winning the stake today with Paula Silver Lining, and a lot of high percentages on that list. Not just guys running a lot of horses, but running horses and making it count.
We'll check out the owner standings again. Another Sunday down, drawing away with 5. They claimed Tismus out of race number 4. The Broman's doing well. Rapoli Stable had that nice unbridled song colt win earlier today down at Gulfstream Park, and we sent it to Maggie, who's got that pick 6 carryover in mind.
Well, here in the paddock for another edition of none other than Paddock Insider here, looking at Wednesday's card. Going to take a look at race number 5. It is a maiden special weight for 4-year-olds and upward. The fillies and mares going 1 mile, and in a field where a lot of the horses have already shown what they can do. I'm going to take a shot with one that may have more upside, and that is second time starting number 5, Majestic Empire, whom is a filly that ran 6.5 first time out that I noted would probably won a lot more distance than that, being a daughter of Empire Maker, and she just had that look about her. Plus, she has Mike Hushin in her corner, and Mike Hushin does great things, and one of them is stretching out second-time starters. He is 8 for 16 for a 50% clip with this kind of move. So Majestic Empire is going to be your Paddock Insider for the Wednesday card. Guys, back to you.
Maggie, we'll look forward to Majestic Empire. We look forward to that pick 6 carryover, and from the Big A with $14 million plus in improvements, the Mig and I say goodnight. Racing Report Monday and Tuesday, and we'll see you back here with the first race post Wednesday of 12:25.